Have you ever said something in anger that you wish you could take back? Or maybe you felt your heart racing with anxiety, overthinking every possible outcome, even when deep down you knew there was nothing you could do. We've all been there, those moments when emotions take the wheel and reason quietly disappears, when you know what the right thing to do is, but your anger, fear, or sadness speaks louder. A friend of mine once told me, "It's not that I don't know how to control my emotions, it's that they control me before I even realize it." And I remember nodding because that's the truth for most of us. Our emotions aren't the enemy, they're a part of being human, beautiful, powerful, but also unpredictable. The problem begins when we let them rule us instead of guide us. Thousands of years ago, the Stoics faced the same inner storms we face today: anger, jealousy, heartbreak, loss. But they discovered something extraordinary. You can't always change what happens to you, but you can always choose how you respond. And that single choice is where your power lives. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet he wrote nightly reminders to himself about staying calm when others insulted him. Seneca mentored emperors while reminding himself to forgive those who wronged him. Epictetus was born a slave, yet he spoke of ultimate freedom, the freedom within the mind. The Stoics weren't emotionless, they felt deeply, they just refused to be enslaved by those feelings. They turned anger into discipline, fear into clarity, and pain into purpose. And that's exactly what this video is about, because the truth is, emotional mastery isn't about suppressing what you feel, it's about understanding it, working with it, and transforming it into wisdom. So today, I want to share with you 9 timeless Stoic principles that will help you master your emotions, not to become cold or detached, but to become strong, calm, and centered in a world that constantly tests your peace. Because once you learn to master your emotions, you stop being a prisoner of circumstances. You start becoming the author of your own inner world. So take a deep breath. Let's begin this journey together. Principle 1. You can't control everything, only your response. We live in a world that constantly tests our patience. Bad traffic, rude co-workers, unexpected losses, the endless noise of opinions. And yet the Stoics discovered something powerful. Peace begins the moment you stop trying to control what you can't. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." A client of mine, a young entrepreneur, used to get furious every time a deal fell through. He'd say, "I did everything right, why does this keep happening to me?" But once he understood this Stoic truth, that life doesn't owe him results, only the opportunity to respond with wisdom, his energy shifted completely. He began focusing on what he could control, his mindset, his preparation, his response. The world didn't suddenly become easier, but he became stronger. That's what mastering emotions means, shifting from reaction to response. Principle 2. Pause before reacting. Epictetus taught it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Between the moment something triggers you and the moment you respond, there's a small, sacred space. And in that space lies your power. Most of us don't live there. We live in the impulse. Someone insults us and we fire back. Someone criticizes us and we defend. But the Stoic learns to pause, even for a breath. I remember working with a man named Jason, a father of 2 who struggled with anger. He told me, "I always regret the things I say after I calm down." We practiced one simple rule. When anger rises, breathe before speaking. Within weeks, his entire relationship with his family changed. A pause doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. Because anyone can react, but only the disciplined can respond with clarity. Principle 3. Let reason lead emotion. The Stoics never said emotions were bad, they said emotions should be led by reason. Think of it like this: your emotions are the horse, your reason is the rider. Without reason, the horse runs wild, but without emotion, it never moves at all. Seneca said, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." He wasn't against feeling anger, he was against being consumed by it. A friend of mine once went through a brutal breakup. He told me, "I can't think clearly, I just want to make her feel the pain I feel." That's emotion without reason, and it always leads to regret. I asked him, "What would a wiser version of you do right now?" That question changed his direction completely. He didn't suppress the pain, he transformed it. He used it to build discipline, to grow stronger, to redefine his worth. That's Stoicism, not killing emotions, but educating them. Principle 4. Accept reality as it is. Most of our emotional suffering comes not from what happens, but from our resistance to it. We fight against life, wishing it were different, wishing people behaved differently, wishing the past could be changed. But reality doesn't bend to our emotions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, when you stop resisting reality, you start transforming it. I remember coaching a woman named Claire who lost her job unexpectedly. She said, "I feel betrayed. I can't accept this." But as weeks passed, she realized that losing that job opened doors she'd never have walked through otherwise. She started her own business, and later told me, "It wasn't the loss that hurt me, it was my refusal to accept it." Acceptance isn't giving up, it's growing up. It's saying, "I don't like this, but I can learn from it." And the moment you do, pain turns into purpose. Principle 5. Detach from other people's opinions. We often say we want freedom, yet most of us live as prisoners of opinion. A stranger's comment can ruin our mood. A small criticism can make us doubt ourselves. Why? Because we give too much power to voices outside of us. Epictetus said, "If you wish to be free, stop wishing to be approved by others." One of my clients, a content creator, used to check every comment on her videos. One negative remark could overshadow 100 compliments. She told me, "I know it shouldn't affect me, but it still does." I said, "Then maybe it's not the comment that hurts you. Maybe it's the part of you that still seeks permission to be enough." That's what Stoicism invites us to see. That peace begins when validation ends. The opinions of others say more about their world than yours, and when you learn to detach from their noise, you finally start hearing your own voice again. As Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning, "I will meet people who are selfish, arrogant, deceitful, but they cannot harm me because I will not let their behavior become mine." That's emotional mastery, not by controlling others, but by remaining untouchable within yourself. Principle 6. Don't feed negative emotions, anger, resentment, envy. They start small, like sparks. But when you replay them, justify them, or hold on to them, they become wildfires. Seneca once said, "The best remedy for anger is delay," because anger, like fire, burns out when you stop feeding it. I remember a man named Robert who came to me after a falling out with his brother. He told me that every time I think about what he said, I get angry all over again. I asked him, "Then why keep thinking about it?" He looked at me and said quietly, "Because it feels like if I stop being angry, he wins." That's the trap. We believe holding on to pain protects us when it only poisons us. The Stoics teach the opposite. When you release resentment, you win twice, once in peace and once in power. The next time anger rises, don't feed it with stories, revenge, or pride. Just observe it, let it rise and let it pass. Because emotional mastery isn't about never feeling fire, it's about not letting it consume you. Principle 7. Transform pain into growth. Pain is inevitable. Suffering, though, is optional. The Stoics saw pain not as punishment, but as training. Seneca said, "Fire tests gold, adversity tests men." Every challenge, every heartbreak, every loss, they're all part of the forge that shapes your strength. A woman I once coached, Anna, went through a painful divorce. She said, "I feel like my life ended." But a few months later, she found her voice again, started painting, traveling, building a life of her own. She told me, "The pain didn't destroy me. It introduced me to the part of me I'd forgotten existed." That's the Stoic view. Pain refines you. It burns away illusions, ego, and fear, until what's left is only truth. When you shift your mindset from why me to what can I learn from this, you take your power back. And suddenly what once felt unbearable becomes your greatest teacher. Principle 8. Practice gratitude, daily gratitude, the quiet antidote to every storm inside you. Marcus Aurelius began his book Meditations by thanking the people who shaped his life, his teachers, his parents, his mentors. Even in chaos, he practiced gratitude. Why? Because you can't feel angry and grateful at the same time. The brain simply can't hold both. I once worked with a soldier who struggled with PTSD. He told me, "I can't stop reliving the worst days of my life." We began a simple practice. Each night, write down 3 small things he was thankful for, even if it was just, "I'm alive, though," or "The coffee was warm this morning." After a few weeks, he said, "It's strange. My mind still remembers the bad, but it doesn't live there anymore." That's what gratitude does. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what remains. It doesn't erase pain, but it balances it. And over time, it teaches you to see beauty even in ordinary days. When you make gratitude a habit, peace becomes your default state, not because life is perfect, but because you finally see how much of it already is. Principle 9. Remember your mortality, memento mori. If there's one truth that humbles every emotion, it's this: you will not be here forever. The Stoics often meditated on death, not morbidly but meaningfully. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do, say, and think. When you remember your mortality, small irritations stop mattering. You argue less, forgive faster, love deeper. You stop letting petty emotions steal the little time you have left. A man I met at a hospice once told me something I'll never forget. He was in his final weeks and said, "I spent half my life angry. And for what? None of it matters now. I wish I'd spent more time being kind." That's the essence of memento mori. When you live with the awareness that time is fragile, you stop wasting it on things and people that drain your soul. You begin to choose peace not because it's easy, but because you finally understand what's truly worth your energy. And maybe that's the greatest Stoic lesson of all. When you remember death, you start living fully. When you live by these 9 Stoic principles, when you stop feeding negativity, turn pain into strength, practice gratitude, and remember how temporary everything is, you begin to see life differently. Your emotions no longer toss you around like a storm. They become signals, not chains. You stop fighting with the world and start flowing with it. That's what mastering your emotions truly means. It's not about becoming unfeeling, it's about becoming unbreakable. Because when you control your mind, you don't just survive the chaos, you find peace within it. Take a moment. Close your eyes. Think about the last time your emotions got the best of you. Maybe it was anger that burned too long, anxiety that wouldn't quiet down, or sadness that felt heavier than you could carry. Now imagine this. What if in that very moment, instead of being swept away by the wave, you could stand still? What if, no matter how chaotic things became outside of you, there was a place inside you that stayed calm, grounded, and untouchable? That's what the Stoics were searching for. Not perfection, not numbness, but peace. They didn't run away from emotion, they studied it, sat with it, and learned from it. They understood something most of us forget. You can't always control what you feel, but you can control what you do with it. Marcus Aurelius wasn't born calm, Seneca wasn't immune to anger, Epictetus wasn't free from fear, but each of them learned, through practice and patience, to turn emotion into understanding, to meet pain with perspective and to respond, not react. And maybe that's what emotional mastery really is. It's not a battle to win, it's a balance to hold. It's the strength to feel deeply without drowning in it. It's the wisdom to stay kind in a world that often rewards cruelty. And it's the grace to remain peaceful even when life refuses to be easy. I've seen this change happen in people, quiet, subtle, but powerful. The moment someone stops trying to control others and begins controlling their mind, something shifts. Their face softens, their words slow down, their presence feels different, calmer, deeper, wiser. And that's when you realize, peace isn't something you chase, it's something you build, moment by moment, thought by thought. So the next time emotions rise, remember what the Stoics taught us. Pause, breathe, reflect. You don't have to silence your feelings, you just have to guide them. Because the strongest person in the room isn't the one who shouts the loudest, it's the one who stays still when everything shakes. And maybe that's where your power truly begins, not in controlling the storm, but in becoming the calm within it. If this message touched something in you, if it helped you breathe a little easier or think a little deeper, then don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to Stoic Awakening More, hit the like button, and share this video with someone who might need a moment of calm today. Because every share, every comment, every new subscriber helps us grow this community of people who are learning to live with wisdom, peace, purpose. Together we're not just watching videos, we're practicing a way of life. So take a second, click subscribe, and let's keep walking this Stoic journey side by side.